10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And we are live. Good evening, Jeff. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, Juanita?
So wonderful to have you here, my friend. Welcome at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. I had the privilege of meeting you on Facebook, and I want to share your biography with the audience before I let you share some thoughts about yourself. So let's read it together. Jeff describes himself as a divine space anchored by his in-breath and solidified by all other sparks of the divine. He's a loving, compassionate, and powerful leader who's creating a truly awesome life, not only for himself, but for those in his sphere of influence. He's an instrument of peace in the perceived chaos. He's a resilient adventurer who chooses to love life, be the dominant creator, and live in his purpose with health and vitality. Some of the labels that have been used to describe him are productivity expert, system specialist, Jedi Cleric, clothing designer, author, speaker, and host of the Creative Nomad Show, and a fabulous one. He now assists fabulous authors, artists, speakers, and coaches who are sick of being super stressed, spiritually exhausted, and overcommitted to live their true awesome life. He's also in the process of creating the Orange Dragonfly Transformational Center and Temple of Jediism, which he says is going to be a cross between an RV park and summer camp where people will come to balance their mind, body, spirit, and business. And I wrote here that you are a freedom Jedi. My goodness, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Juanita. Yeah, it's so funny because one of the things that we do when we introduce ourselves is typically we limit ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, if the Tao says that anything that you label takes away its power. So you look at the labels that we're actually creating for ourselves. Yes, I'm Jeff, right? Uh, it's a way to address me. It's a label that I use to address me, but who I really am is just a divine space.
Beautiful. I love that. You're a divine space. It's such a wonderful way to put it. So tell us a little bit, a few things that you want to highlight to the audience about yourself.
Well, what I want people to know is that really I work with people to, especially creatives and coaches, online people, who are just spiritually exhausted. You've been running, and you're stressed, and you're in this box, and you might be working all the time because see, the problem is that we created this wonderful business. Well, now we're working, 90 hours a week when really it could be much less. And really, we need to focus on what our life wants to be, and then create the business around it.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Absolutely. I find that, when we apply what you teach, when we really get into that space where we make a decision, we are not going to be in a place where we get overstressed, overworked, too tired. That's when we are productive. Because when we get into that space where we are overstressed, we don't think straight. When we are tired, we can't cope with the pressure. So how do you teach your clients to get to that place, to be optimally effective, but to still practice that self-care?
It's about scheduling. What is on your schedule is what really matters, right? And what ends up happening is that we schedule business, right? We schedule our meetings, we schedule all that, but what we don't schedule is our me time. We don't schedule our family time. We don't prioritize relationships. And so when we start there and start with what's actually important to us and schedule that first, then everything else comes on. It changes the game. Just that little bit of focus. Where are you having fun? So it may change. Don't get me wrong. It does. Every week my schedule changes slightly. But my core things are all there. So I know when I have time to have fun. Right? I know when I have time to spend with my family. I know when I have time set aside to take dogs for a walk. And by doing that, it allows you to have freedom and you can actually be present with whatever you're doing. So I have time for this podcast. It was scheduled in my calendar, right?
Yeah.
I don't have anything else that's pressing on top of this podcast.
Good.
Right? And when we start living our lives that way, our whole life that way, there's nothing else pressing. I have time for everything else. It's all scheduled in. It's all there. Yes, there's things I have to do, and there's things but I know I have a time to do those. And when you can actually create that time, create those boundaries, and and make the priorities your priority, it changes the game completely.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I was thinking when you were explaining your method, when you schedule your personal time, your me time, your family time, there's a psychological process that kicks in. Your subconscious mind is thus physically also consciously aware that you will have breaks. And that's going to help you to get through the maybe a little bit rushed appointments or the stressful parts of your day when you are going to have that breather. It says a lot. I've never scheduled personal time myself before. I have personal time, I have me time, but I've never actually put it in my diary so that I can see it, so that my subconscious can say, "Whoa, keep going strong. You are going to have this and this break, and you're going to go do that." So that's a phenomenal strategy that you have. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, what it does is you're so getting there is a whole other thing, right? Finding out what's important to you, why it's important, all that kind of good stuff is another game.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this month, I obviously time is on the top of my head. My workshop for this month is a time workshop. It's a time versus time workshop. So time is right there, right? But it is the core of what I teach because once you start creating the boundaries, so time is one of the things that we have to create boundaries around, right? Our energy is another one. Our who we have in our life is another one. And it all changes, obviously, with where you're at in your life too. But when you can make those boundaries and you can have that separation, you can know that you have time for this, right? I have a really big project I'm doing with this database for a client. I'm doing tech again, which I promised I wouldn't, but this client I couldn't refuse. Like one of those people that, okay, all right, no, I guess, yeah, yes, I will. Um, so I'm doing some tech work, and so that automatically puts me in a place where I'm not as comfortable anymore, right? I'm good at it, but I don't love tech work.
Yeah.
So I have to really concentrate on, I'm only going to be doing this for this many hours a day.
Yes.
The project's
Motivating
not going to be
yourself.
done. The project's not going to be done today. It doesn't have to be done today.
Yes.
Now, what that allowed was yesterday when I was in my downtime and I was feeling really creative. So I sat down and I opened up Canva and I did all my social media for the rest of the month because
Lovely.
I was feeling creative. It was beautiful. I was like, oh, and I had this idea. And so I opened up Canva and I started playing. And then, of course, and then I have 30 images done because that's just how I work,
Wow.
right? But once it started, it was like, oh, okay. And it wasn't that I needed to, right? Well, one of the things I didn't do in all that is because I wasn't on my schedule on Thursday as I wanted to
Yeah.
because I was working on this project and because the fun thing about scheduling is that you're probably never going to be exactly the schedule, right?
Yes.
But if you focus here, it gives you something to
Mm.
stand in, right?
Yes.
So Thursday, I didn't do the video work I was supposed to do. So I committed myself to at least doing 5 short form videos a week, and
Yeah.
that's my commitment to me to keep my algorithm going. I'm working on TikTok. I'm doing some stuff, getting out there and really helping people. So I didn't do
Yes.
that, and because Thursday was chaotic here, there was a lot of noise going on. I didn't have just the space or the bandwidth to do it, and
Yeah.
so I ended up. So yesterday it was really silent in here for a few hours, and I started doing
Oh.
the videos. So I recorded all the videos, and then I didn't edit anything. So last night, at last minute, I realized, crap, I didn't edit any of those videos that I recorded, and I need one for today. So,
Yeah.
so at midnight last night, I'm editing out video, but and so it's never got to be perfect. It's never got to be great. Um, and again, I have rules on when I shut down, shut off electronics so that my sleep is better. There's things around that too. But when you have that time, and it allows you to be more free, have that freedom.
Yeah. True, true, and having a guideline gives us a structure. Even if it's just that guideline, it gives us the peace of mind. We are busy with the things ultimately that we want to be busy with and should be busy with. But I have to be honest with you, I have days like that as well, where I don't get everything done, or it's maybe a chaotic day, or it's too busy or too noisy, and then I put it over to the next day or the next day. I love those times when you are in that space, like that day when you were in your flow, when you created all your posters. That is the most wonderful time when you can do it in peace and quiet, and you just feel so inspired. So now it happens to all of us, but the structure that we have in our diaries, that guideline really helps us to put us at ease, to say, well, it is on there. Maybe we didn't get it done today, but it eventually will pan out. So I always go with the flow as well. I don't push too much when I know I'm a little bit exhausted, or maybe I know time won't allow certain things. So I see that you practice the same awareness. And I remember when we talked the first time, when we had our virtual coffee, you told me your life story. I would love for you to share that with the audience.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's kind of fun because I would never learn computers at all. I'm of an age where I'm Gen X, right? I was born in '77. You guys could do all the math if you want, but I had brain surgery in '97, and because of that, my family didn't have a computer in my house until after I graduated. So there wasn't even a computer there, and so I never really learned computers. And what that did for me though is I had brain surgery, and what happened was that I couldn't read black and white. I couldn't read a book because of the light sensitivity. I couldn't watch TV. I really couldn't listen to very much radio because I couldn't stand the sound. I was super hypersensitive. And
Mm.
what a computer could do at that time is you could lock in your color schemes online, and it overrode whatever color screen they were using. Images obviously would be blur image, but it allowed me to have a lot less contrast. So I started actually chatting. I was at chat rooms and actually getting out that way because I wasn't allowed outside of the house either. So
Yeah.
for about 4 months, I couldn't go outside. I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't really listen to the radio. I couldn't walk around very much. I couldn't be active it was really a challenging time. And so I learned computers, I learned all that stuff. Excuse me.
Bless
This
you.
room makes me sneeze. I'm sorry. Um, there's something in this room, and I don't know what it is, but every time I hear too much, it makes me sneeze. So what ended up, the reason I bring that up, I learned computers. Fast forward, I started designing websites. I
Yes.
did some work with Toon Disney. Number Quest was one of the sites I did. Um,
Wow.
did some amazing stuff for a while. Went to West Palm Beach for a web development company for a little bit, and that was really fun. And then I came back to Michigan and went back to restaurants. So I ran restaurants for 20 years. Well, total 20 years off and on in a restaurant. I worked through a restaurant, did some really cool stuff, was a sales coach, did all that. Got to actually, I raised every store in the market by 20%.
Wow.
So, directly from my efforts, I donated $2.5 million to the Detroit Zoo with the efforts I did. Like, there was all kinds of amazing stuff going on there. And then they told
Steve.
me, hey, they sold it. So, all that work, they sold us to the franchise. And the franchisee says, well, we don't need your position.
Oh no.
So what ended up happening is that they end up closing. We went from 48 stores, they went to 15. So I got pushed back
Okay.
into a store. I was in a store for 2 more years. I doubled sales in that store, got rid of everything, was a number one, got won all kinds of awards, blah, 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 because I actually knew what I was doing. And then, and I did some stuff that you should never do in a restaurant. And then they moved me to another store and it gave me zero support. So I said, I realized that I was in this really great job. I was making good
Yeah.
money. I was getting all kinds of recognition.
Yes.
And I hated my life. And so I ended up, I wanted to kill myself. I could tell you how I was going to do it. I could tell you what it would feel like, what I was going to do I was going to maximize the biohazard. I worked in restaurants, so I was going to biohazard the fucking place. Like I did this whole thing
Planning.
and
Yeah.
planning it. And then I realized I don't have to work here. like, like I really don't have to. Right?
Woo!
Right.
My
And it was an
God.
epiphany,
Wow.
because
Thank
sometimes
God.
you just get stuck in this thought
Yeah.
process, in this life, in this thing that you're doing. So I went on my own. I was already doing websites. I helped with authors and stuff, helping them self-publish. I do all kinds of stuff there. I was doing graphics, it
Yeah.
basically freelancing, having fun.
Beautiful.
Um, then when I started coaching, I I had that awakening. That like moment of like, oh wow. Um, so one of my mentors said, "You are perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are."
Beautiful.
And
Wow.
it was such a powerful moment. I bawled. Now it's one of the things I talk about all the time. You're perfect, whole, and complete. In this moment, you are exactly where you need to be.
Yes. Amen.
Right. So, and I started working with the Spiritual Life Center for a while. I did some really great stuff there. I realized I needed to move forward. Um, been coaching literally for the last 6 years now. Um, but during that, I was taking care of my mother, and my
Yeah.
mother um, was very ill. My mother is very ill. She's still with us. She's still very ill. But
Yeah.
she was literally on her deathbed. She was dying. That was it. And one day I asked her, "Are you living or dying?" And I'm not. I have nothing. I understand where you are. I have nothing. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. This isn't charged.
Yes.
This isn't. But I need to know so that I can plan effectively of what the next
Yes.
steps are.
Yeah.
because I was taking care of her. It was a big mess. And she said, well, I'm going to live. I have to live until
Beautiful.
I need my grandchildren. I need to be there for their graduations. I said, okay, that's fair. I'm not, either way, I'm okay. I understand where you are. She's in a lot of pain. My
Yeah.
mother deals with all kinds of issues. And so we
Yeah.
changed her doctor. We got her well. So she went from literally falling over on the ground
Yeah.
constantly to, me not knowing if she was going to live or die
Yeah.
to her being okay enough to live on her own.
My
So
goodness. Wow.
what that allowed for me is that allowed me to go nomadic
Yeah.
because I realized in the middle of all that, right about the time I asked her, I kind of my whole life fell apart. I was I when my mom first moved in with me, she moved in with me and my ex. Um,
Mm.
and then our relationship fell apart. The spiritual life center closed.
Mm.
Like in the company I was running, kind of went under all within like 3 months.
That's a
So
shock. Yeah.
I was talking to my friend John, who ran the spiritual life center that I was working for, and I asked him, "What the hell do I do now?" And he said, "Have you meditated on it?" I'm like, "No." At this point, I'm already teaching meditation, like consistently doing all this stuff. And I'm cracking up laughing because this should be the first thing, right? And I went into meditation, and I heard, as if you and I are talking, said, "What do I
Yeah.
do now?" And I heard a voice that said, "Get in the RV and go."
Get in an RV and go.
And go.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, I'm a city boy. I don't like mowing
Oh,
my lawn. I don't want to. I want to like even still. I still think about like I wouldn't want to move into a house. I don't want a house. I want an apartment somewhere. I want something with a nice balcony and
yeah.
without a lawn. You know, and the me being in a RV is like the most ridiculous. Everyone in my family is the most ridiculous idea. I still can't do a fire correctly. Every time I do a fire, it just goes out. But
I'll teach you how.
you know what? I've had 5 different people literally go, "How do you do that?" Like you're everything is built correctly, but something is wrong. Um, and so, like, I'm the least likely person you would think of to be nomadic in an RV, but I love it. I love every
Wow.
bit of it. I lived 2 years
Amazing.
stationary,
Yeah.
and then I went nomadic completely in May of 2021. Um,
Okay.
just freaking the most amazing time. Went to 8 different amusement parks. If you haven't, because I put fun at the top of my list. So
Oh,
what
good.
am I gonna do while I'm nomadic? You could do anything, and that's the thing about life. You could do anything right now. And when I went nomadic, and I said, okay, I could do everything. Well, what's gonna move me to travel across the country? I want to see this. I want to see this person, this person, this person. But
Is
that's
it?
it, right? What else is out there? Again, I'm not the nature boy, so the national parks and all that stuff that other people go for, I'm like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice. It's nice, but amusement parks. I love amusement parks and I love roller coasters. And so I went to 8 different ones. I got to go. I spent a month on the beach, um,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show that you could live your life however you want. Now, I didn't make millions, right? I wasn't making a
Yeah.
ton of money. It wasn't like I
Yeah.
was sitting here. I'm not a 6-figure earner. I'll be the first to tell you,
Yeah.
I'm not. Um,
Yeah.
I don't advise people. That's not what you come to me for. If you're here just to make money, I can give you 5 other people that'd be so much better than I would. How to manage
Yeah.
it, we can talk. How to actually get out of debt, we can talk. But when it comes to actually making money, I have better people for you. But what I could show you is how to actually structure your life so that you're living life. No matter if you're making $1 million or if you're
Yeah.
making 15,000.
Yeah.
It's a different, and the concepts are the same. The zeros are different.
Mm-hmm. I was in an interview the other day, and the lady that was interviewing me asked me, "What is my definition of success?" And my
Mhm.
answer was happiness. Because when I'm happy, I can make that million that I want to make. I can
Mhm.
achieve that goal. I can achieve that dream. And I guess it's in the decision, to be happy, that we find that strength to keep that momentum, and, to engage the way that we want to, and to meet the people. And, success means different things for different people. Some people are happy, and they have a plan, and they are fine to achieve a certain level. Some people want to achieve more. But as long as happiness is part of the process and part of the result, you getting in an RV and just living your life day by day, that is such an inspiration. And I want to ask you, what is it like to wake up in the morning in the RV on the beach, and to just experience those first few magical hours of the morning there?
Oh my goodness, being on the beach. So for anyone that just outside Galveston, there is the Boulevard Peninsula. Okay, all of Texas Gulf Coast, much of it has beaches that you can actually camp on for free. So just so you know,
Okay.
this is one of the great places to go in the wintertime. Um,
Yeah.
but I was just outside Galveston. I love Galveston. I love Galveston. Um, and I said I'll spend another month there, but it will only happen if I can actually be on the island because the ferry back and forth is a pain. Um,
Okay.
and with the RV, it's just it takes a while, and it
Yeah.
just becomes a mess. And I'm now in a motorhome, whereas before I was in a trailer. I had a fifth wheel. So moving back and forth is kind of crazy. But waking up in the morning and getting up and having a coffee and the waves crashing. One of the things that I
Yo.
found for a time management guy, right? So time management was what I taught for a long time. It was really all about time management, and now that's kind of broadened into a whole life system. But I'm sitting out, and I would be working, and I would look up, and I would see the waves, and I
Oh.
would and the sun, and I would get mesmerized. And an hour and a half
Yeah.
later, look back down and said, "Oh my God, it's been an hour and a half, and I haven't done anything. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't moved." Like, and the dogs are like, "I want to go outside." Or actually, for most of that time, the door was just open. They were going in and out.
Yeah.
Sitting in the hammock. I did so many meetings in my hammock when I was there.
Yeah.
Um, I had really great coaching clients, and so I would do hammock. That's where I was. I was in my
Beautiful.
hammock. I was in the. I realized that because I had limited water resources, that's one of the things about living in an RV is that you have to start thinking about resources that you're using. And it's one of
Yes.
the reasons I did that. And
Yeah.
so you have limited water, so you can't take 50 showers a day. And you're at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that drove me crazy about it is that sand would be in my fingers, like in the webs of your fingers.
Yeah.
And because of how that all worked, the wind and the people driving, because they drove basically on the beach, there was kind of like an unridden road that separated like
Oh.
babies from
Yeah.
RVers. There was like two different, and there was a road in between, kind of, sort of, and
Yeah.
unofficially there was. And so people would be pushing up sand all the time, and the wind would just blow it in. It's like everywhere. Like, and I have Sand. Um,
A lot of
and I'm like,
sand.
a lot of sand. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how the hell do I do this? And one day it hit me. I'm at the ocean. Dude, grab a bar of soap and go out and go take a bath. But it was
Nature
like
bath.
4 days in. Like things that it's just didn't occur to me, and I'm like starting to panic because I'm feeling like I need this shower all the time, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that became part of my routine. Like twice a day, I would go out to the beach, and I would just like go out and chill. And there was this moment where I was out, and it was sunset-ish. It was later in the evening, and I looked up, and the sky was just this beautiful version of pink and blue.
Wow.
Like this beautiful, like cotton candy, pink and blue, streaked, like amazing. And I'm out in the middle of the ocean. I can't take a picture. I can't do anything. No one was there. Actually, there was really no one on the beach
Yeah,
at that time. It was it was probably like a Monday, Tuesday. You know,
yeah,
it was late enough and everyone had gone home. And I'm just there, and I realize that it's in these moments that
yeah,
how much of our lives are lived through conversations and the stories that we tell. Because the only thing I could do is tell the story about this moment,
yeah.
right? And I was so in there. I was so in this moment, and I was like, I wish I had someone I could share this with in this moment, right? It's
Mm,
one of the few times I've actually wanted a partner, someone traveling with
yeah,
me. Um, but yeah, it's just been really crazy. I love it. And then the RV broke down. So my motor went. Well, actually, I went to some water
yeah.
in Florida um, with the trailer. It flooded everything. Everything was totaled, which was not fun. And then I went to I bought a motorhome because. And the funny thing is, this is the power of words. When you things that you keep saying, I kept saying, I'm not leaving Florida in the trailer. I don't want to tow anymore. I hated towing. I I hated towing. Love living in the RV. Love the space. Love being able to detach things. I hate towing. Right. Um. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a motorhome by the time I leave Florida. I'm gonna have a motorhome by the time I leave Florida. And there were some things that were supposed to happen to make that possible. Well, they didn't
Yeah,
happen. Right. But I kept saying, I'm going to I'm going to have a motorhome. I also had a vision board with a new phone on it, a new computer. Like there was a few other things that was on there.
yeah.
So before I went to Florida, I was on Superman and lost my phone, so I had to get a new phone.
Oh my goodness.
And
What an asshole.
then, yeah, what an asshole! That's Superman. It, freaking had so much fun. Kept That was the first time I was at Six Flags by myself. Before I
Mm,
had a friend that met me. Um,
yeah,
that was the first time. So I got to ride and everything, and I kept meeting people, like all these random people. Like I was there for 3 days, and all 3 days I met somebody different, and something else happened, and somebody else, and it was just really cool. Um, then I went to Orlando to meet up with my friend, and we went and did. That was my birthday. I did Star Wars, which was they did such a great job with that. Whereas in February we had already done um, Universal. We did Harry Potter and that, so it was a lot of
oh,
fun. That was cool too.
yeah,
Definitely recommend both of those. But I went and I decided that I wanted to go back into the forest before I went to see friends because
mm,
I just needed a little bit of. I had been in group for a while, and I'm like, I
yes.
just need a little bit of alone
Some
time.
solitude. Yeah,
To solitude, and I went into some water. I went to a spot where I couldn't. The water was bad. It told everything. And then I got the motorhome, and I was on my way back home, and I was telling mom how amazing everything was, and I was in the mountains and it was beautiful, and it really is a beautiful drive, and it was a beautiful day. It was like couldn't be any more perfect. And
Mm.
then um, my 13 belt blew, made everything overheat. Um, as I was telling my mom, I literally just said, "Yeah, everything is so beautiful, mom. This drive's so wonderfully, blah 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 blah." And I went, and I heard, I'm like, "Hey, mom, let me give you a call back." Blew my
Oh my
engine. The engine blew. There was all this stuff that happened. It was horrible. And hopefully tonight,
yeah.
my coach will call me. They're just trying to fix the timing, but it's been over a year now, and it's like I'm ready to be
Oh
back in my
no.
home. I'm ready to be back
Yeah.
home.
That was that the end of your journey? How did you get home eventually?
So well, actually, that's kind of funny too. Really great lessons I learned from this whole trip, right?
Yeah.
Another lesson I learned was to be happy where you are.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll get that home back. I'll get my home back. I end up at my niece's house, and how I got to my niece's house is all kinds of crazy because I broke down in Kentucky and ended up back in Tennessee. Don't know how that happened. Um, really, still can't explain where I was, so that made sense. But they actually, my insurance company actually told me everywhere I went. Um,
Thank God.
I ended up at my niece's, and she, I was there for until New Year's. Um, and the whole time though, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting my home back any minute now. I'll get my home back." And I was kind of upset because one of the big things I left for was a festival in
Yeah.
Palm Springs. I wanted to be at Palm Springs Pride, and that was in November, and I wasn't there. And then the holidays were coming, and I wasn't anywhere that I wanted to be for the holidays. Not that where I was bad; it just wasn't where I wanted to be,
Wasn't your
and
planning? Yeah.
I was in the way there. Like I was on the couch. There was no way around anything. I had no privacy. They had no privacy, which kind of worked because a lot of times no one was there other than me. But when everyone was there, it made everything like crazy. There were
Yeah.
6 dogs, including my two. It ended up being 6 dogs, uh, 4 humans in this house that just wasn't set up for all of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it became a big thing. And then I was supposed to get my home back on New Year's. So I stayed at home. Oh, my roommate was having my niece's roommate's son was moving in. And so I had to go. And my home was supposed to be done. I was getting it back New Year's, and it wasn't ready. The new heads that we put on it were bad.
Oh.
So that's what we were dealing with in a sense. So I lived with my
Mm.
mechanic for 5 months. And then his kids were coming down. Um, it's still not done. There was all kinds of hell broke loose. Um, his ex-wife has now passed, but she was in the process of passing.
Oh.
And so it was a big, huge mess all the way around. And so my friend actually came to pick me up from Tennessee, and I came back up here
Yeah.
in May last year.
Yeah.
And now, it's March, and I'm still here. I'm like, okay, that's not what I planned. That was not what the plan was. But it's all work. It's just what it is. And one of the things I learned is that you are in control of your experience, no matter what that experience is.
True.
And I got to make the choices that led me to where I am at this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, listening to your tenacity, I mean, here you are on this podcast, you are still positive, you are going, you are helping people who have overstressed lives. You help them really to find that balance, to manage their time. And, there's so many lessons that we learn in our journey. And I think the most important thing for me in times where I've really been in a time of character shaping, is the fact that introspection is so important in these times.
Oh, yeah.
None of the times that we go through or the things that we face is time wasted. It's never time wasted. It's always there for a purpose and a reason. And I believe the places that you were, even though it felt uncomfortable at times, those were the places that you were supposed to be at. Like you've mentioned earlier, you are where you are supposed to be at this point in time. Now, you and I spoke about introspection. We also spoke about getting rid of the programming, the things
Yeah.
that are externally placed on us. Would you like to share with the audience our discussion and your viewpoint on that?
Oh, definitely. We're getting programmed every minute of every day. Really. I'm programming you now. Okay.
Woohoo!
By what I know, by the things, by you listening to this, you're actually getting
Info.
programmed. So watch the programming. And there's things that you have to look at. And there's things. One of the things I talk about all the time is that you have to define who you are. So there's really three things that you have to define: who you are, what your purpose is, and what your version of success is.
Yes.
Once you define those three, everything else starts falling into place. And when you can stop allowing other people to define those for you, define what that means for you,
Yes.
what that is, the expectation of that is for you.
Yeah.
It changes
Wow.
everything. One of the things I'm going through right now, my dad is really bad. He's probably going to pass any minute now. I could get a phone call that says my dad is not okay.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Jeff.
thank you. And I don't see death as the end. I know it's not the end. I believe that. I really do believe that we're energy, and we are. I'm a divine space. I am a spark of the divine, living incarnate. So
Yeah, beautiful.
define that however you want to define that, right? I'm a Jedi Cleric. I use the Force. I've used the universe. I've used other words. I like the Lokatas. They use great mystery, unknown and unknowable. And I think that's gorgeous. Use your word, right? But so I'm not necessarily tore up like a lot of my family is. I'm also not there. So because I'm here, I don't have my RV, I don't have a vehicle, and I'm not far away from my family, but I'm just removed enough that they're not coming out here. I'm not going in there as much. So after this, I'm actually leaving here. I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I'm gonna go in food prep for my dad's house, and actually make all kinds of food. But I got to choose how I participated in that, in what was going on.
Yes.
I'm not there going crazy. I'm not there having the meltdown. I'm not there doing all that. And I might be if I was there more. But I've also been very clear with my dad where we are. We've almost every conversation we've had, I've told him how much I love him, I thank him, I appreciate him. He told me how much he loves me. He appreciates me. We've talked about what we admire about each other. We've talked about any mistakes that we might have made. We have been completely clear for years now. So that this isn't an issue for me. Now, I have enough siblings that I don't have to be right there, and I don't have to, like, if I was needed, of course I would be, but I have enough siblings for that. And I'm not, so I don't have to be the one controlling it. And I could easily be that person.
Yes.
Because there's been times when I've wanted to control everything.
We all go through that. That's true.
I would have to be all up in the mix and all up in the drama, and all my siblings have called me. We've all talked. I've been calm, cool, and collected, and I could be in that space. So we get to define the space when we can define what spaces that we want to be.
Yeah.
And we can keep that space, not let anyone else push you out of it.
Yes. Hold your ground. Hold your own space. Your energy. Yeah. Yeah.
You are responsible for the energy that you put out
Mm, mm.
in this
That's
moment.
very, yeah.
I could be I could be a basket case. I could. I mean, my dad's passed away. I had all this stuff with the RV. I could do all that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I have bad days, and I'm sad, and I'm not happy about it. It's not like I'm sitting here going, "Woohoo, dance time, yay!" And I have my melancholy moments.
Of course.
You know, but it's a part of life.
Yeah.
It's there. I'm I will deal. I'll cry. But in this moment, that's not serving me,
Yes. Very true. You
and it's not
choose.
serving anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me
Wow.
being calm, cool, and collected, everyone could call me, and they could all break down, and I could be a
It's true.
support, and I could be completely who I need to be for them, and they could
Yeah.
call me whatever name they want to call me, because I've been called cold and heartless, and my mom's told me I'm everything but a white boy at this point because of my reactions right now. But what she doesn't realize is that I get to be this, so she could be that, and she could get mad at me, and she could do all that, and I could be okay with that too. She could be mad because my mom is a drama queen. I love her. She is. You know,
But you still love
where I
her. You
learned it
still
from.
love her. And you know
Of
how
course
to
I
handle
do.
the situation.
And
Yeah.
I could just as easily go there. I could go to the whole, ugh, right?
Dramas.
The whole drama. It doesn't serve me. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it wastes so much energy
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
it's not even worth it. I could be like
I,
that with the RP, and I have it.
yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
But just
so
you deciding what is the right path for you, where to hold space, what type of space to hold. Obviously, here we deducted you hold positive space, you hold empowering space, you keep away from the drama, and the things that you can at any moment decide to go the other way, but you decide to be calm and collected. And that's why you are so effective with the people that you work with. I posted your video earlier today for your interview tonight. Well, I believe it's afternoon for you. And Spencer Jones was on there and he said, Jeff Perdue rocks. And Spencer, he's the prince of positivity. So it's extremely,
yeah,
extremely great to see how people support you out there because they know you, Jeff, and they know the effect that you create on people. And I'd also like to welcome Spencer. He's been listening in and liking the information that you've been giving. So tell me if you had any words of wisdom. If you want to, what do you want to leave the audience with this evening? Thank you so much for inspiring us, for telling us about the things that you've been through, what you are currently busy with in the services. Please give us some words of wisdom and then also include for us how we can support and uplift you. How can we, as the Meticulous Moments community, assist you as well?
yeah, definitely. Define yourself. I think that's define what your true awesome life looks like. You know who you are, know what your purpose is, and know what your spiritual success is, and then work backwards to actually create that in your life. Once you can do that and stay in that space, right? This is who I
Yes.
am. Who I am is a divine space anchored by my in-breath and solidified by my all other sparks of divine. Everything else I add after that is added, right? But one of the things that slaps me in the face all the time is that I'm an instrument of peace.
Mm,
So where am I not being an instrument of peace? I can
yeah.
go into the drama, and I do, and I have. I've said things today that I'm gonna have to clean up, right? So with my roommate. Like
That's
literally, the
life.
thing,
That's
right?
life.
Because I'm still a human, and
Of course.
but when I remind myself of those things on
Yeah.
a daily basis, on an hourly basis, on as many times as you have to in that day. And
Yeah.
some days I have to look at it. I have a sheet I have to look at. I look at it more than once sometimes, and I just have to say it out loud. Time is a divine space. How do I
Yeah.
how do I get back to that?
Yeah.
And when I can do that, and when you can stay in that space consistently, your life
Mm.
changes.
Mm. Mm.
Your life
Beautiful.
changes.
It does. It does. And we'll always be human, Jeff. None of us are perfect. We'll never be at that place where we can say, oh, now I've arrived. And I know that's not a human fact. It's not even viable. It's not attainable. And we just find you to be such an inspiration. You're such a good friend to me as well. And how can we follow you on social media? How can we uplift you? Anything, upcoming events or lives that we can
I have.
support you
Oh
with?
my goodness. Um, I always have something going on. Every month we have a new workshop. I kind of mentioned earlier we're doing time marches on this month. So this the principles I teach in this workshop is kind of what I started with, right? And they help people actually find 10 to 20 hours in a week. Now, what would you do if you had 10 more hours in a week?
Wow.
What could you, and
Yeah.
this isn't what I've said. This is what my clients have come back and like, I have 20 more hours in a week. I have
Wow.
this going on. I've gotten this done. Now, every time that you actually start talking about something, your challenge is going to come up, right? To prove
Mm.
how much of an idiot you are in that area. So I had a friend, and Spencer, by the way, Spencer is probably one of the best people I know.
So,
He has seen me when I've not been in full death mode. He
yeah.
has seen me when I've not been ready, and he's such an inspiration. If you're not listening to his
Absolutely.
podcast, definitely do that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely. So the time march is on. You can check out trueawesomelife.com, get all the information. I think you can get into all my socials from there. Uh,
Yes.
I'm I'm on Facebook. That's my primary social. But I have everything. And Sundays, every Sunday, I am a Jedi Cleric. I am a Jedi Minister.
Wow.
So on Sunday nights, we do my service over at orangedragonflycenter.com, where we have a short meditation, we have a discussion, and then there is what I call a heart circle, what's called a heart circle, where you get to actually let go of whatever it is that's not serving you in a space that's non-judgmental. It's
That's so
not there to
beautiful.
get coaching.
Yeah.
It's just there to let go of. And
Mm.
one of the things that really helps with that is that you could say whatever it is. And you
Mm.
don't, once you hear it out loud, sometimes an answer comes to you. Maybe it's just that you need to say it. Maybe it's just that
Vocalize
it's
it.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by acknowledging what's there, you can
Mm.
release what's there.
Absolutely love that, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us here at Meticulous Moments. Thank you for bringing inspiration, for making time for us. I'm sure we'll still work on future projects together, and we are going to be cheering you on. You are indeed the Freedom Jedi, and your positivity just changes people's lives. And it's just wonderful to see that there are people out there that really care about community upliftment. Whenever you're speaking about working with people, it really shines through that you want to help people, and that is exactly what you are doing. So I commend you on that, and you are now part of the Meticulous Moments family. So have a
Woo!
wonderful day. Thank you. Woohoo!
Thank
And
you.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys to the audience. You know what to do. Connect with Jeff, support him on social media, visit his lives, and cheer him on as he transforms the world out there on this wonderful leadership journey. And I'll see you in the next session. Bye bye, everyone.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.